All right, it helps if I can find my unmute switch. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Herbie's Community Cooking Corner for February. What is it today? 7th, I think. Where's the 6th?
Shakes.
It's the sixth, Herbie.
All right, it's the 6th. Okay. I can never remember, but all right, very good. Hey, at least I knew it was February, so that counts for something, right? Anyway, welcome to Herbie's Community Cooking Corner for February 6th, 2024. And today, yes, we finally get to make the brookies that we were going to be making last week, or the brownie cookies. The recipe calls them brownie cookies. However, I've been assured by everybody that they are actually, in fact, brookies. So, you know what? We won't mince words. Instead, we'll just mince pies. Or we'll mince cookies. I don't know. We're going to have Andy's mince and cookies a few weeks from now, but that's then. And, okay, so we were originally going to make them last week. That did not work out too well, as I need to. You can hear I've got running water, and that lets me do things like make sure this mixing bowl is actually good to go. I'm gonna need both my mixing bowls, but that's fine. So it's actually a pretty straightforward recipe, and in one bowl we're gonna just do some of our dry ingredients. In another bowl, we're going to do our other ingredients, like the wet ingredients, as I like to, as they are called, and that is what we're going to do. So, um, let us get things started here. So right now, I am just trying to make sure that I'd really like to know where my main dish towel went, but it has ran away from me. Okay, fine. So, as I'd really like to do things with a dry mixing bowl. Okay, fine. We just have to do things the really hard way, but that's fine. Okay. Because I just give it a final washing, and now I'm going to miss my hand towel. Okay. In fact, let's get another one. Since I thought I had more in the kitchen, I do not, so no, I'm not seeing any. So we'll just have to go to the bathroom closet and get one from there because I don't need it for dishes. Well, I may need it for dishes, but I also would like to be able to dry my hands while dealing with this stuff here. Okay, so now that I'm done talking to myself, let's get down to actual brass tacks here and get cooking, shall we? So, I have my recipe right here, and the first thing that we are going to need to do is take a look at what we need, which is going to be flour, baking powder, and things like that. So, 1.5 cups. Well, first thing we're going to do is preheat our oven to 350. So let's do that. And next, while I'm thinking about it, let's go ahead and grease our 9 by 13 pan. And we'll make sure that it's greased. Oh, I guess I could have used parchment paper, but that's okay. Um, Now we need 1.5 cups all-purpose sifted flour. Well, I'm assuming the flour I have is all-purpose. It's flour. It'll work. I know there is a difference between like all-purpose and self-rising and all that. Um, the self-rising one, um, the thing that worries me about the self-rising one though is it's always rising in the yeast. So okay, um, now that I've actually gotten the towel that I want, I can actually make sure this bowl is dry. And because because I really don't want to use a wet mixing bowl. And that's just not a good idea. Okay, so with that, now we can actually get to our flour. And first thing, I have mine in a container. This is probably old news to those of you that have heard this show a million times, but I don't know if we have any new listeners or not. So in case that we do, when you can always tell your flour and sugar bags very easily just by the way the bag feels. Your flour bag is going to be stiffer than your sugar bag because of what's in it, and that's how you can tell a difference. So with that, we are going to. I haven't, but I transfer the flour from a bag to a container because it's a lot easier to store that way. So I have my full cup of flour that's going in the mixing bowl, and some of it spilled over. Nice of you. And now we'll do my half cup of flour, and I'll do a little bit of extra to compensate for what spilled on the counter. Okay. So now I'm going to drop my measuring cup. That's okay, at least it's we'll have to get washed anyway, because we'll be using it for something else. Alright, so you can take a trip to the sink. This is the full cup that it's getting washed out here. And I have things falling all over the place today. Okay, wonderful. Jumping out of my sink, literally. So, let's get this. I used my mixing bowls for something else last night, so I'm making sure this other one is washed out because I'm going to need it in a couple minutes here for our shortening, sugar, and eggs. So what I've done so far is I put the flour in the mixing bowl, I've preheated my oven to 350, and now we're going to get to the rest of the dry ingredients here. So, with that, okay. And now my useful towel is here that don't disappear on me like the other one did. Alright, good. So let me go back to looking at my recipes here. Helps if I use the right side of the phone. A half cup cocoa is next. Very key ingredient for these brownie cookies. So the cocoa comes in a round plastic container. And let's get this glass back in the sink where it belongs. And I don't really need to wash out this half cup because it just had flour in it. And we're just going to pour the cocoa into it, let the extra go in the baking mixing bowl. And actually, what I've got left is equivalent to a half cup anyway, so we'll just do that. And I'll throw that in the sink. So the cocoa, as I was explaining, comes in a round container. It's very like it's a wide, well, round and wide container, a little bit on the squat side, and I am describing that A so you know what it looks like if you do this recipe and you've never gotten cocoa before, and B, well, we're also going to need to deal with the baking powder. So we need a half teaspoon baking powder and an eighth teaspoon salt. So baking powder comes in a more of a cylindrical container that is a lot thinner than, like, say, the cocoa. It's more thinner and taller. That's the best way to describe it. And it also helps in this case. When my mom was here once, she labeled the container baking powder, so it makes it a lot easier to know. I'll tell you, barcode scanners are good. I definitely prefer braille labels over barcode scanners, if I had to be honest. Of course, they're not. That's not always possible, but if you ever want to know a use for braille in the kitchen, it's a lot quicker to read a braille label than to take out your phone and find the scanner and all that stuff. So, um, yeah. Okay, so I'm not finding my half teaspoon, which is no surprise. I actually never find it when I want it, but I know I'll come across it later on. Oh, there. Is that my... Okay, let's see. That is... It's 3... Okay, braille labels are good when you can actually read them. Sometimes they're a little bit close together. Okay, but now I actually did find my 1/2 teaspoon. And this is a set I got from Blind My Smart a while back. I don't know if you can get these. Another thing you can know about the baking powder is it has a little ledge when you open the container. So there's a little ledge on one side, and then if you feel around, it just kind of gets narrower. So that's another way you can tell your baking powder. One cautionary thing though is that um, cornstarch can come in a very similar container, so just know that. Okay, now salt and pepper. Only way to know if your shakers are exactly the same, shake it out. And there, we just need 1/8 of a teaspoon of that, so not very much. It's just to help with the baking aspect, not the flavoring aspect. Okay, now is a good time as I get ready to stir all this up together. If anybody has any questions, so I'm now going to introduce you to our wonderful caretakers today. We've got Allison over on the hosting side. She's all the way down south in Mississippi. And if we just zip right across the country, we can go to Portland, Oregon. And believe me, I'd much rather be in Mississippi. They have much better winters. But Tyann is more than welcome to her winter time. So, on that note, do we have any questions?
We do have a raised hand in Zoom currently, and that is Desi.
Hi, I just wanted to point out, Herbie, that cocoa, I've actually never bought it in a short, squat, round container. When I have bought it, it is also in a plastic container, but usually it's rectangular in shape. So,
Yes.
so just so people know, it doesn't necessarily have to be round and squat. It can be
Yes, a good reminder on that. Yes, indeed, it can be round too. Similar to like if you've ever seen those Nesquik powder, chocolate powder containers. It can look very similar to that, but a little bit smaller. But yes, very good
a
point
little bit
there,
smaller
Desi.
and maybe a little bit fatter,
Taller.
the container.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
All right. Thank you.
hmm
Anyone else?
No one in
So,
Zoom.
all right. Well, I did get a text from Celeste, who is listening to us over on Media 5. I think that's where she's at. And so, first of all, hi, Celeste. And she wanted to know, could I describe the baking powder canister as the same type of can that the Pringles come in? Well, you know what? I definitely think we can. And let's do a side-by-side comparison. Yes, we're going to do compare the difference. So, because I have a Pringles can here. So, I mean, one thing you'll know with a Pringles can,
Herbie,
Pringles, obviously. Yep.
sorry about to
Excuse
interrupt,
me.
but I just noticed we had a raised hand in Zoom. Do you want to take it when you finish
All
your
right.
side by side, or
Yeah, as soon as I'm done with this,
okay?
we'll take it.
Okay.
All right. And, yep, the different type of plastic. I'm just looking at the two can. Yeah, I mean, It does look like a smaller Pringles can in a way. Of course, the Pringles can does not have the ledge, but very interesting comparison there, Celeste. Okay, let's go to our raised hand.
Melissa, go ahead, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, hi Herbie. Um, the one that Allison was saying about the Coco. Uh, I think she said a good job with it. And I don't know what. Then, uh, I know we're cooking Pringles, right?
We're not cooking Pringles. That would be interesting.
But I know you're cooking cookies.
Uh-huh.
And how much do you put flour inside?
Cup and a half.
Oh, okay. So, how long does it take to bake?
They will take about 25 to 30 minutes.
Oh, okay. Perfect. And does it d- does the cookies, do you used an egg or no?
Very good question. We are going to be using 4 eggs, actually.
Oh, okay. Cool. That's perfect. Yeah.
All right, very good. So one thing I will say with the cocoa is, yes, of course, some things depending they can come in different containers, and yeah, I have seen the other type that Desi was mentioning, and I'd forgotten about that. But um, I
I
don't know if it
forgot her name was.
matters.
I think her name was Desi, right?
Yeah, Desi. Yep.
Sorry.
Yep. Dazzling Desi, and she used to run Desi's Diner, but she gave it to Allison recently. So make sure you check out Allison's Community Corner Diner on Fridays. And the specialty last week was the Southern Fried Chicken. Let me tell you,
What time will
and
that be? The
that's 10 Central, 11 Eastern.
Oh, okay, and that'll be 7 o'clock here,
Yep,
a.m. or p.m.
AM.
Oh, okay. I would like to join that too.
Yes, you will. All right. She would love to have you. And so, yep, we actually have Allison and Desi. So we actually have, let's see, 2 diner owners and the cook on the call today. Fascinating how that works. Okay,
That's cool.
it is. So, next thing I forgot to do was soften my stick of butter. But, you know what? We're going to cheat. And I'll just use my spreadable butter instead, which already is the right consistency. And as things go flying out of the fridge here, I tell you, what is it with things flying on me today? We will do that as I'm going to bring up my recipe here. And let's see here. All right, so Celeste wanted to know what type of Pringles I have. These are just the plain ones. But the barbecue ones are pretty good, and I also like the honey mustard and the ranch ones. So, but the hot honey mustard, but these are just the plain ones today. All right. Let's go back to my thing here. So 1 stick butter is equivalent to 1 cup butter. So we're gonna need 1 stick butter softened, 2 cups sugar, 4 eggs, 1 teaspoon vanilla, and 1 cup chopped nuts. I don't actually have any chopped nuts at the moment, so we'll just do without, and that's fine anyway. I'm not a big nut. I'll eat nuts and brownies, but they're not like my thing. So, okay, I told you I need my measuring cup again. So let's see. Let's find one of my measuring cups. Ah, here we go. And okay, so I'm going to wash out this particular measuring cup. I washed and dried my other mixing bowl. So we're in good shape there. That one is, I mean, well, we don't want it wet, and it doesn't call for water, but okay. So let's see here, and very good. Okay, let's see. Um, I'm going to dry the cup out. And now we're going to take my tub butter here. So I've got we're going to use a separate mixing bowl for this. And I've got a tub of butter. This is a rectangular tub. This is the one Land O'Lakes from Walmart. It's the 24 ounce.
Sorry to interrupt. So I just checked. 1 stick of butter is actually half a cup.
Oh, yes, you're right. And I was thinking that too for some reason. Originally, I was thinking that. Okay. So we just need a half cup of butter. Thank you for that, Ibrahim. And that's what I get for not consulting my devices. But a little bit of extra butter wouldn't have hurt anything, probably. Maybe. I don't know.
Excuse me, Herbie. What is the link for the diner? Because I don't.
I will get that to you. You can also subscribe if you send a blank email to community. Well, first of all, you can do one of two things. If you send an email to community@acb.org and include your name and email address and ask to be added to their community call list, you will get a daily list of all the calls that are happening. But in the meantime, I can also send you a link to Desi's or Allison's community cafe.
Okay,
So,
can you send me the link instead so that way I don't have to?
yep. All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, you're welcome. Okay. So,
But Herbie, she needs to know it doesn't happen till Friday. So
yes. I was gonna remind. Yep, I was gonna remind her of that. But thanks for that, Desi. Desi, former proprietor, definitely knows her stuff. No. But yes, that will not be happening till Friday. So it's But I'll make. So I'm definitely gonna get you the link before then. But yes, it happens Friday at let's see, 10 a.m. Central, 11 Eastern. So you're in Pacific time, right?
Yes, I am.
So that'll
Should be
be
8, wouldn't
8
it?
your time.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes. All right, because it's an hour later than this. They're nicer than I am. See that you don't have to get up at um me. I make y'all get up at the crack of dawn. All right.
It's okay.
Actually, yeah. No, part of it just works out for me well scheduling
I thought it
wise
was
too. So
I thought it was 8 p.m. my time, but no.
nope, 8 a.m. your time.
Oh, that's when I eat breakfast. Okay.
Well, that's a perfect thing to do at the diner.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go. Listen while you eat.
Exactly. And they're nice too. That you get to order food, virtual food, and the whole 9 yards, and it's all calorie free too. So you can order whatever you want, and there's no judgment. So
She doesn't mute us, does she? Does he mute us or no?
you
You stay
you'll-
muted during the call except when you're talking. You know.
yes.
Okay.
All right. So, how do yep, the cooking call meets Allison's community cafe. Well, technically it did last Friday. It's met both Allison and Desi as they let me take control over the hosting duties, and
It was so much fun. I loved it.
a lot of people got hungry again afterwards. So I'll have to
Yeah.
sign up for that again in the future, and
That would be great.
trying to find a proper deep fryer sound because we had a lot of French fry orders, and pan frying them only goes so far. So, okay, let's see. So I was putting in the cup. While all this is going on, I was scooping in the butter and putting it in the container, or in the mixing bowl, I should say. All right, and Celeste would like to let Melissa and well, anybody else knows that if you want some fun in your Friday afternoon, you can listen to the Variety Party on 986themix.com, where Celeste will give you 3 hours of entertainment. And that is through, well, there's a number of ways. You can go to 986themix.com/listen to find out all the ways you can tune in. And she is on server 2, so there you go. You can do it through your A-Lady. We have in Utunes, TuneIn. Well, server 2 is not in TuneIn, but Utunes and Get Me Radio for sure. And
There's the Big
all
Blue
that.
Party Bus on Fridays if anybody wants to join, and the Red School Bus on Mondays from 6 to
Oh,
8.
the blue. Well, now all you need is a white bus, and you'll have the colors of the flag. So, and that's on Blue Streak Radio. Okay, so maybe it should be White Streak Radio, just so that we have all those colors. All right, we need 2 cups sugar. So I'm going to get out my 2-cup measuring cup. I really love this because, well, it's 2 cups. And the downside to this is it can be a little bit hard to scoop out. So this I have to pour the sugar. But, you know, that's okay because Def Leppard made it okay a long time ago when they said pour some sugar on me. So the mixing bowl is saying pour some sugar in me instead. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to take the lid off of this container and make sure I set it somewhere where it's not going to accidentally melt down that on this call. That was not good with a different lid. And just kind of pouring the sugar. Actually, I don't have much sugar left, so I may have just wasted a cup that I didn't need to. Okay. We'll have some extra, but that's okay. Might be a little bit sweeter as I did some of the extra that go into the bowl, but I think it'll be fine. All right. And let's see, what else do we need here? We're going to need shortening and we're going to need eggs. So why is it shortening as opposed to longing? I don't know, but it is just how these things go. And Celeste, yours is not worth repeating on the air, but yeah. On this call anyway. Okay. So next we're going to okay, so for eggs, shortening and vanilla is what we need here. So 4 eggs and a vanilla and a half cup shortening. So let's get out the eggs. And let's see here. All right. So now I need the so I've got a carton here. This is the 18 eggs because that's how many I have at the moment. We're going to crack egg number 1 into the bowl. And throw the shell away. I know there's a debate as to whether you can put eggshells in your garbage disposal. At least in our apartment complex, they specifically forbid us to do that. So check if you are renting somewhere, check with your landlord as to their policy if you are unsure, but I'm just putting mine in the regular garbage. So, and just carefully cracking the egg on the side of the bowl and using my fingers to pry the shell apart. And wow, I'm dripping egg everywhere trying to find the garbage. That's not good. Then just, lifting it apart and putting the egg into the thing. I'll tell you a really interesting story. I knew somebody once that we were doing something with eggs, and they had never experienced raw egg before. They'd only experienced a hard-boiled egg. And so they were going like, "Where's the egg? Where's the egg?" And it was in the bowl, but they'd never seen the liquid inside of an egg before. So, um, yeah, that it was interesting. That might have been my first cooking lesson. Actually, is back when I was 16, showing somebody how to find the what is an egg. So there you go. Um, okay, so that's for eggs. And let's get out the shortening while I'm thinking about it, because we need it anyway. The one that I use is a vegetable shortening. Supposed to be a little bit healthier than the original stuff, whether it is or not. And no, it comes in a very unique container, I gotta say. So, and the many of the shortening that I've seen them all come in this type of container. So it has what makes the container very interesting. It's a very tall and fat container with a very unique lid on it. So it's the lid has kind of like, how to describe it? Like a very, like a narrow rim around it. So you'll definitely know it's your shortening container. And that is that. All right, so Celeste would not recommend throwing them down a garbage disposal. And yes, you can if you're not comfortable with eggshells, then you definitely can use a separate bowl and then fish out the eggshells. I've done this enough to where I don't need to, but yes, by all means, if that's your comfort level, then do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, let's wash out the shortening. And we'll get to questions in just a little bit. So if you do have any, hold your horses if you've got horses to hold. And if you don't, well, then get some. Okay, so I'm going to take the lid off of the shortening here. And we're going to... Should have really... You know what, let's see if it can get a couple minutes to soften. So while it's doing that, I'm going to go get my vanilla. And I'm just going to pour a bunch in and call it good. And we'll just use that up. Okay. The vanilla again comes in an oblong bottle that's wider on the bottom and it gets narrower as it goes to the top. And that's how the vanilla looks. Reminds me of those like Tylenol bottles in a way that, but different. So let's see now. Can I do anything with the shortening here? No. Okay, so I need it to soften up a little bit more. But that's fine. I can at least get my mixer ready. And then we'll come back for the shortening. So let's see. We're going to need the mixer for this next part. So I'm going to get out my mixer blades. And there's one. Well, I thought I had a set of mixer blades. maybe I will not be using the mixer. Well, I tell you what, while I'm looking for the other one, now is a good time for questions if anybody has any.
We do have a raised hand, and that is Ibrahim.
All right.
Hi. So I've never ever felt shortening, worked with shortening before. Could I just use butter? And does or does it look like it? Does it come in a tub like margarine or something like that?
So shortening is it's kind of like a thicker form of butter. I mean, it's the original shortening is actually like lard. How
Never
to
use
dis-
that either.
So could you use butter in place of shortening? And like this one calls for butter and shortening, so I don't know that you could in this particular recipe. But so I think the best way to describe shortening is like a thicker type of oil. Um, Tori would be a lot better at answering that question. So I'm going to say yes, you probably can substitute. You could just use extra butter instead of shortening and you'd be fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Who's next?
Desi.
Desi.
Hi, I have used shortening, I mean, sorry, butter for shortening many times, and it works just fine.
All right. Very good.
And at the moment, we have no more raised hands.
All right. So very good. Now my next question comes to me from Celeste. She wants to know what type of mixer do I have? Well, that is a very good question. It is a hand mixer, and I'm getting that out right now. I found the blades that I want. So it is a hand mixer. What?
Herbie, sorry, someone just raised their hand. Do you want to go ahead and take it?
Give me just a second.
Sure.
So this is a hand mixer that I'll be plugging in. And I just got to attach the blades to it. I don't store the blades in the mixer when they're put up, but there you go. Okay, who have we got?
We have Tim.
Yes, Tim.
Hey, Herbie, listen, I didn't want to interrupt your cooking. I've got a kind of a, I'm looking to buy a cooktop, and I'm wondering, I can buy a radiant heat or an induction, which I guess the top doesn't get hot. And I figured, why, when there are no questions, I'm going to fire this out to see what Herbie thinks. What do you think?
All right, so I have an induction like portable burner, not a regular burner. They're good. They do cook a little differently.
Okay.
The nice thing is, yeah, no, they don't get hot, and they heat up on contact.
Okay.
But
Less chance of burning yourself, do you think? I mean, that's what I'm
I
kind of
think so,
concerned with.
yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. Okay.
I wouldn't say it's completely foolproof, but definitely less chance.
And you're okay finding like, okay, I gotta be lining up the pot with the circle or
Yes. Of course I haven't seen your exact burner that you'd be getting, but the one I have, yeah, there's just like a little there's like some it kind of like the mine is magnetic. So it kind of helps with the guiding, but yes. You should be good with that.
oh, beautiful. Thank you. Excellent. I can't find anything on the internet, so I knew you were the guy to go to. Thank you.
You're welcome. And let me know how it works out if that's the route you go.
Definitely will. Thanks.
All right. Anybody else?
Not at the moment.
All right. So this shortening is still not very soft. I got my mixer ready, so what I'm going to do is use the spoon to kind of break it up a little bit so we can get our half cup.
Herbie,
Yes.
We have another raised hand.
All right, who we got?
This is, oh, refresh my memory. It says Spider Woman, and I know I'm supposed to know who
Heidi.
that is. Heidi. Okay, thank you.
Hello. We actually have an induction cooktop stove. And ours is a flat top. And as Herbie said, it does work with magnets, and it does have less of a chance of you burning yourself. Ours does not have any landmarks on it, but you can get a silicone type cover that goes over it, and you cut out the circles where your burners are.
I can hug both of you guys. You just you made my decision for me. Thank you.
Excellent. Glad we could help. All right.
And now we have a Dexter. You want to
Yes.
take Dexter? Okay.
One other thing that he needs to consider, though, is not all pans are compatible with induction burners.
Yes, you will need to make sure that you have the proper pans for um that. So definitely something to consider there. Um, but all right, thanks for definitely a good point there, Dexter. Yes, you will need to pot some pans that are specifically meant for an induction burner if you are going to go that route.
I'm perfectly cool with that. Thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome. All right. Anybody else?
Just making sure. No, not at this time.
Okay, so we're just using the spoon here to kind of break up the shortening. So what we're going to do in a minute here is we're going to start mixing this whole stuff. And we're going to just gradually add in the flour mixture a little bit at a time. So I don't know if I actually stirred in my flour mixture. I'd better make sure I do that too. And wonder if a knife will actually serve me a little bit better for this, just because we need a good sized chunk. Alright, so the whole thing wants to come out the tub. Okay. Let's move this knife out the way. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this stuff is pour what I have in the mixing bowl, first of all. And because we got a solid block here of shortening, so it's rather interesting. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, do I have my other cutting board? Yes, I do. So we're going to place this on that. And now I can just take my knife and cut off some more. Butter knife will work for this. Okay. And we'll just kind of slice that. I'm going to guess as to what will ultimately be a half cup, but I think several chunks of this stuff will do. Okay. All right. So let's see here. I'm now going to. Uh-oh. I just lost my headphones. Okay. Okay. And I probably should have, like I said, I probably should have used. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how substituting the butter for this recipe would work. Shortening for the butter in this recipe would work or not. Celeste wanted to know, should I have done that? And maybe, I don't know. But we're now going to just use the knife one more time to break up some of these chunks after I put the rest of this back in its container. And then so we're going to do that. Okay, just break it up into smaller chunks here. And now you can sit in the bowl and soften up like a good piece of shortening. I can definitely tell it's starting to soften up just by sitting in here, so. Okay. Now I need to go back and stir in my my dry ingredients in the other bowl before we even start to do anything with the mixer. So, actually what I first need to do is put the shortening away. And then we will there it is. Okay. Just washing off this lid, it got a little dirty here. All right, so now we're going to put shortening away. Then next I'm going to stir in my dry ingredients, and the shortening can go back here for now. And we're going to get out a spoon, and we're going to just stir real quickly the dry ingredients. And then we're going to see what magic our mixer can do, and it might break up our shortening. That'll be good if it can do that. So let's see here. I'm going to set it to medium speed, and we're using our the mixer for the wet ingredients, not the dry ingredients, though we're going to be adding the dry ingredients in a little bit here. So I'm just kind of going in a circular motion around here in the bowl. And we're going to turn that off. Let's see what we got here. We got something. It's combining just the shortening, like I was afraid of, is not working as well as I'd like. Okay. So we're going to just try to, I mean, some of it will ultimately dissolve. I mean, it's ultimately going to dissolve anyway. But I think it'd be good if it can get into blended into the mixture. So I'm just going to kind of break it up some more with my butter knife. Do we have any questions on what I've done so far?
I'm not seeing any raised hands right now, Herbie, and Tyann doesn't have her hand raised, so I'm assuming we have no one in Clubhouse either.
All right, that's what I would assume, but Tyann will definitely let us know if
Yes.
that changes. All right. So I'm just breaking up the shortening here. And so when we're done, we're going to bake this for about 25 to 30 minutes. So that is the plan. And let's see. All right. So the tricky part is now when we add in the flour, that's the really, really not fun part. And that's what we're gonna. What's gonna happen now is now that we're gonna add in our flour and stuff here to the mixture, it's going to make it a little bit tougher and that much harder to work with. And I will get to your message there, Celeste, in just a minute. So what this thing tells us to do is to add in the flour mixture gradually. So we're not going to pour it all in at the same time. So what that means is we're just going to add in a little bit, kind of mix, add in a little bit more, mix that, add in a little bit more, mix that, and so on and so forth. So that's how that is going to work for this. And okay, just using my knife to kind of work within the mixer to just break up the shortening a little bit here. So it'll be in smaller chunks and then maybe it'll actually mix a little bit better. Yeah, it will. Okay. So we're getting close to the time when we have to say goodbye to those of you on the stream, but you can always join us on Zoom for the remainder of the call here, and we'd love to have you. But Affair on Media 5 coming up at noon Eastern. You've got Essential Oils with Haley, and Helpful Hints on Homophones at 3. So that's just an example of some of the things we have happening for you over on Media 5. Now, community, we have a lot more. In addition to this call next hour, we have the Coffee Clatch. We have French coming up later tonight. We've got the Braille Room. We've got Living with Low Vision, or the Ins and Outs of Sight Loss, I should say. That's the correct call name. And yes, we do preheat the oven to 350 for the brownie recipe. And we grease in 9x13 pans. So, all right, I'm now going to pour in some flour. And let's get this mixing spoon out the way. So I'm just kind of, really, I'm going to try to guess how much to put in. I hate these gradual things that you have to do it gradually, but it is what it is.
Herbie,
Yes.
it is now 10:55.
All right. Very good. So, if you were listening on the stream and you'd like to continue to listen to other calls on Zoom, make sure you send an email to community@acb.org. Include your name and email address and say, I'd like to be added to the community list, and you will get notified daily of the calls that are happening. Okay, you know what? I know it says to do it gradually. I'm just going to do it all at once. It isn't going to hurt anything. And I'll make this go a little bit quicker. I told you I hate baking, right? Next week, Haley, my former teacher. Yes, my former teacher is coming on this call, and she's going to talk to us about prepared meals and all that type of thing, and how to prepare, do some things that you can prepare in advance so that you have meals ready to go. So that's going to be next week. And then Heidi, I believe, she's got several appearances on the cooking call, and I believe her first one is going to be in a couple of weeks. So, and I think I have broken mixer blades. Okay, there, that's fixed for now, but I may need to look into replacements. Lovely. Okay. So I'm just mixing this all in. And, let's see here. Okay, so it's looking like a brownie. Certainly tasting like one. That's good. Gotta, sample the stuff. Even if you get the law laid down upon you later for talking with your mouth full.
I want
So I'm kind
one,
of
but
using.
host can't eat, so there you go.
Well, they can, just they need to be muted so they don't get caught.
Ah, true.
So here
And
you
I
go,
have.
Allison. Yep.
Thank you, Herbie.
The trick is it's not good to, be with your mouth full and say, oh, Kurt, Eric, we have raised hand,
I
But on this call, I mean, not that I promote the idea, but, if you're sampling my stuff, I think Cindy would understand, for this call.
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
And whenever you're ready, we have a raised hand. So
All right, who have we got?
got Ibrahim.
Ibrahim.
That
Ibrahim,
would
have you
make
ever
a
hosted with your mouth full?
no, but that would make a good name for a call. Eating, talking with your mouth full or something like that.
All right, I love the idea of that call.
Um, so the normally the brookie recipes I've seen before, they shape it like cookies and then put it in a pan, and then bake it. This is just all laid out in
Yep,
one
this one
layer.
says to lay it all out. So, which suits me
So
just
maybe
fine.
this is more like a cookie brownie than a brownie cookie. So maybe
It may
this
be.
is this
Well,
maybe is a cownie or a coonie
I don't know.
than a
We're gonna
brookie.
find out together. I'm now gonna pour the mixture in the bowl. That's why I said, is it a brownie? Is it a cookie? You all get to decide. Um, but yeah, it is supposed to be more of a cookie brownie, I think, than a brownie cookie. I would definitely. Okay, it's getting as much out as I possibly can. Now I'm just going to use my hands to kind of spread it out. And then we're going to put her in the oven. So I'm using a 9 by 13 by 9 pan. And the shortening is now softening up into the mixture. So we'll just see how this one turns out. Okay. Trying to get it even. Now, for the destination of the oven. So you can kind of hear the heat blasting into the microphone there. Computer, set timer for 25 minutes. All right. So now that that's done, I can switch back to my other computer here. All right. So does anybody have any questions, comments?
Well, we do have a raised hand, and that is Desi.
Desi. All right.
Yes, I was going to say that when I am making a recipe like this where you're going to have to spread it out in the pan, and particularly if it is kind of a thicker batter, um, first of all, I scrape all of the stuff out of the bowl with my hand, which I have first dampened slightly so that it makes the stuff come off your hand better. That doesn't mean you want to get a bunch of water in your mixture. It just means that you dampen your hand slightly so that you can scrape everything out of the bowl more successfully. And then I do the same things. I put both hands underwater and then shake them off over the sink and then come and spread out my mixture in the pan so that, again, it won't be sticking all over your hands, but will stay in the pan. So, that's what I've always done with baking things like brownies, and I learned that trick from another friend of mine who is no longer with us, but she always did that with baking, and her baked goods were always delicious. So, anyway, just thought that might be helpful to some people.
Definitely. All right. Thank you for that, Desi.
Mhm.
All right. Anybody else?
Okay, Paige.
All right, Paige, welcome.
Yes, I just need to know what kind of hand mixer are you using?
I got this a while back. I think it's the KitchenAid brand. So yeah, that's all it is the KitchenAid brand of mixer.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Good question there, Paige. And I'm glad to have you on board with us. Okay, anybody else?
Not seeing any raised hands right now, Herbie.
All right. So, very good. All right. So, what we did today was a very So now we're just waiting for it to call. So first of all, I'm gonna open it up. If you have any other general cooking questions that you'd like to ask, you can definitely do so. And Heidi, if you're still with us, would you like to talk about what you've got coming up for us on some of these calls?
So in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing a microwave Nutella fudge recipe. And also the same call, I'm going to be doing, I believe it's called cookie cheesecake casserole. And it's I'm guessing a cross between cookies for the crust and a cheesecake with cookie dough pieces in it. Both of those I've actually not done before, but they both intrigue me. And then in March, I'm going to be doing Andy's Mint chocolate chip cookies. And both calls, I will be having my lovely assistant Nick with me in Lily's lair.
Awesome. Lily's lair. That sounds definitely like a good thing there. All right. Very good. All right, so we're definitely looking forward to those. Definitely. All right. Okay, so let's see. Do we have any other raised hands?
Not at the moment.
All right. I'm glad to see that we have 20 of you here. Okay, wow.
I see 23.
23. Yep.
Well, you're not counting. Never mind. Sorry.
Nope. But definitely glad to have you all on board. So I hope you found this call entertaining and instructive. I still got sugar on my hands. Okay.
We have a raised hand.
We have a raised hand. All right.
Oh, we have two. Good
All
deal.
right.
All right, Rita, you are up first.
Hey, good morning, you guys, or good afternoon. Just wanted to tell you that how much I'm enjoying this. I just signed up for the newsletter and went and got some of your recipes. It's a tremendous resource that you're providing. I think this is great. I also just wanted to tell you about an egg separator that I found on Amazon. And you put the egg inside this cube, and then you press these two little points down, and then you press down, and then you separate the cube, keeping the points held down in it. It keeps the shell inside the container, and then the insides of the egg come out, so you don't have to, feel for any kind of eggshell. So anyway, so it's just a something handy I found when you're working with a lot of eggs that you got to crack.
Okay.
So anyway, great resource, Herbie. I really appreciate you doing this.
Thank you. And your check is in the mail. And all right. Thank you, Rita.
Okay.
Okay, who else?
Next, we have Celeste, and followed by Paige.
All right, Celeste. Now you get to join us in live instead of my text messages. So welcome.
Well, Herbie, thanks for the link. I'm glad I could come and join you guys after the stream died. And also Heidi's working with Nick. Cool, I'll have to check out that call. Great to see Nick is going to live up to his last name.
No, I'm not going to be working with a baker, but different Nick. Yeah. Heidi and Nick. There's a lot of Nicks floating around on my station. We've got two of them. Back in the 90s, there was Nickelodeon, with Nick at Night. Anybody remember that? Yep.
Yeah.
There's several Nicks that work for other internet radio stations, and in this case, we got Nick, who is Heidi's husband. Now, here in the community, we tend to collect Cindys. In fact, I was telling JC yesterday, because I was signed in as Cindy Hollis, if you see somebody named Cindy, back away slowly. It may not be the real Cindy that you think it is, so no. No. So it's funny how different... only one Celeste, though. Though I did go to high school with somebody named Celeste. She was in my English class. No, it wasn't that Celeste, because you weren't in Florida at the time. You were in Massachusetts, so... and she was cited, so... Anyway... Alright, who have we got next?
This is Paige, followed by Tim.
Alright.
Yes, I just need to know what can I substitute for the baking soda for something else?
So we use baking powder, not baking soda.
Okay.
And can that be
And
substituted? I don't know. Let's find out.
and my last
Go ahead.
my last question: where can I get the newsletter?
What newsletter?
Yeah, the new the ABC the ACB newsletter with your recipes to it.
So, do you have access to a computer?
I think so.
You think so? Because then what you want to do is, if you can either look on YouTube for Herbie's Cooking Corner, where I post the Dropbox link there to my YouTube videos, or you can, if you subscribe to community@acb.org and get the emails, it's in the every Tuesday. The Dropbox link is in there. Actually, I don't know if it is in there or not, but if you look for Herbie's Cooking Corner on YouTube and you click on one of my more recent videos, I post the link in the description, and that's how you can get it. Also, if you're part of the ACB Cooks list, I do provide the link that way as well. So,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
And next we have Tim.
All right, Tim.
Hey, Herbie, two questions. First, I want to know if you're hanging for San Francisco or KC next Sunday, but another thing regarding a cooktop. Um, do your knobs actually have a click like every 1, 2, 3, 4, or does it just spin, or does it kind of click, 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 click? That's what I'm looking for in purchasing this
So
cooktop.
you'll have to look at the descriptions. Mine, because it's a separate burner, has buttons. So,
Okay.
Heidi, what is yours like?
For the burners themselves, they have knobs, but they do not click as far as I remember. But the oven temperature is more of a touchpad, which I actually have labeled with certain dots for on, off, and the up and down for the oven temperature. And then the number
Okay.
5 for the numpad, because you can actually physically set it. And mine actually has a convection oven button, which we've never used before, but it's there. So yeah.
It's
The
a
other thing, when
difficult
you go to buy
decision. Yeah.
pins for it, take a magnet with you. If the magnet does not stick to the bottom of the pan, it will not work on your cooktop.
Gotcha. Okay.
And be careful with cast iron, because it scratches and it's heavy.
That's what my wife's afraid of. She have you guys ever heard of Summit? SUMMIT has like 4 discs. They're like iron discs. And my wife said, "How about if we just try that, Tim? Because you're going to scratch the heck out of the top of my stove." So, have you guys ever heard of that? It's like just 4 iron discs. So you could
I have
drag
not.
No. Okay. Okay. And you use Radiant cooktop, Herbie, normally as your normal one?
So what was that?
You're not the portable, but the one that you use like for cooking today, or your cooktop that you normally cook on. Is that a Radiant?
Yes, that
Or
is
is
a
it like,
radiant. It is the old-fashioned electric radiant burners, the visible burners, the whole 9 yards, the dial that you turn. You have it in one position for high, and then straight up and down for medium, and the other way for low.
okay? And is it tactile? Like, is it like the coil? You could put your hand on it, and it's like a
Yes.
coil.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's a kind we've got, and we're going to switch on. Okay, that's probably the best because you don't have to worry about scratching anything. But anyway, thank you for all your input. And what about KC or San Francisco?
All right, so may the best team win, of course, but I'm gonna root for San Fran. They're And they're in my Seahawks division. Of course, I'd rather see my Seahawks win, but so I'm gonna go for San Fran. And what about you?
The John Lynch, who owns the 49ers, was baptized in my parish church. So we're rooting for San Fran.
All right.
Thanks, you guys.
All right. Sounds good.
I just don't want a blowout. I want a close, exciting game.
All right. Well, I'll make sure to pass that along to them so they know.
Okay.
Well, actually, you're the one to pass that on because you know the owner. He got baptized in your church, so you should be talking to him. So I'd get on the phone with him and say, "Hey, John, you remember me? I was in your church."
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
All right. Sounds good.
Take care. Thanks.
All right. Who's next?
We have Paige.
Paige.
I mean,
Yes.
no,
Oh no.
she lowered her hand. I'm not sure if she still wants to.
She
but
could
she
have
had her
done.
hand
Well, she
raised.
could have done *9 instead of *6. So.
So, Paige, did you want to speak?
Yeah, this is Paige. He can everybody can look at a scratch resistant stuff. They may work for them. Flat surface stove.
All right. Now, by the way, let's see. I was going to do this. Computer. What is a substitute for baking powder?
You can substitute 1 teaspoon of baking powder with 1 teaspoon of baker's ammonia.
All right. There you go.
And we have another raised hand
All
whenever
right.
you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right, Celeste.
Yes, ma'am.
Celeste, you're still muted.
Yep, I forgot.
There you go.
So, we were talking about who we're rooting for. I'm rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs because my dad is from Kansas City, so.
All right. Well, the thing with Kansas, the thing with Kansas City is, they got some crazy little women there, but I'm not gonna get me one since I'm already married. So.
Oh, good one, Obi. I know what you're referring to. I love that song.
Yes, indeed. All right. Very good. Okay.
That's the song I could play during flashback hour.
It is. It most definitely is. All right. And then sounds good to me.
Of course, I could also play I Left My Heart in San Francisco.
You could. Well, yeah, you can play something for both teams. There you go. Or San Francisco, Be Sure to Wear Flowers in Your Hair, by Scott McKenzie.
Oh, yep.
Or if you want a more psychedelic version, Merrily Rush also did a very interesting version of that song. And yes, maybe I'll just have to do that as a compare the difference at some point. All right.
No, audio muted. Displaying pages avatar. More. App. No. Cap. Share. React. 20 part. Start my video. Mute my audio. Audio now unmuted.
Do we have anybody else? If you want to talk about your Super Bowl, who you're rooting for?
Not seeing any hands yet.
All right.
And I don't care who wins, so there you go.
You don't care who wins?
No, I'm not into all that. So.
All right. So we got about 12 minutes left. Do we have any final raised hands on anything cooking related?
Not at the moment, and we're almost at 20 after.
We are. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap things up here. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming up on the call today. Glad to see all 23 of you, or there may have been more at one point or less. I don't know, but so thank you, everyone. If you want to subscribe to our ACB Cooks list, that's been an interesting experience for some people lately. So for now, I'm going to tell you all just to email acbcooks@gmail.com and do that. And because I think that there's been a little bit of confusion with the community and getting people signed up for that. So I really am not sure what to tell everybody at this point. You can also look for Herbie's Cooking Corner on YouTube, where I will upload this and other calls. And there's quite a few. Not every call is up there, but I'm working on getting more. And but there's a wide range of calls on there that you can watch me do different things to get an idea of how they are done. Everything from things with grills to well, indoor grills, not outdoor grills. Baking, cooking, frying, a whole range of things there. So you can definitely look for Herbie's Cooking Corner over on YouTube. And I will post this recipe to the ACB Cooks list in a little bit. And that'll also include the link to my Dropbox folder that contains pretty much all my recipes. They are in text format, so you will have a very easy time of accessing them because you don't need any kind of specialized software. Just any text editor on any device will do. How do you like that? And if you have any trouble, of course, definitely make sure you reach out to me and I'll do what I can to help. But I want to thank Allison and Tyann. You know, with the two of them, you guys know where it's at for hosting and moderating and all that today. So, and Tyann was a last minute addition as she was, jumped in at the last minute. But that's what makes community great is people jumping in and helping out. And on that note, you may both end the respective rooms.
Herbie. Oh, okay.